Hello ma'am, my name is Ajay Jadhav and today's date is 23 December and today I will choose topic bin annotation. In a bin annotations that is a string annotation within a container itself there as definition of representation of a bin definition object which contains among of other information following packages. Packages as undefined to class to name that typically to actual the implementation class and bin as a defined. Bin has a behavioral configuration elements which is a state of a bin should be has to be and container scope has to life cycle collaborate that callbacks to the callback and a forth. That is a reference to the others and bin of needed. The bin of worth and those has to reference to we can call that collaboration with dependencies. That collaboration that dependencies other than configurations settings and that set of newly we can create object we can size limited that size has been limited has to pull our numbers and connections as to the bin and managers of connections to our pull additions to the bin annotation as definition of content into the informations. How will we created that specific bin of applicable context is to the also has to perform to registrations is exciting to objects and that create of outside of a container. This is done of accessing that application context and bin factory through the getting of a bin factory methods which is a return of default that a bin factory that implementation of a bin factory is support of a registration through the singleton and registration into the that definitions of a method how we can typically application of a work from that that safely we can ask to through the regular regular to the bin and definition to the naming upon naming conviction of a standard as to converted for the instance of field when we can naming of that beings of that beings of names lowercase are as camel into the case we can just like give the example of we can search of names as including of that account services user demo that will be login controllers as for to naming of a bin of a that consultancy that making of a configuration easier to understand if you spring AOP just like AOP is a help to the applying of advising of a bin and that related naming of analyzing that bin outside of definitions that define is itself is supposedly we can has to the bin and using of combinations just like specify for the attribute and number of other than numbers to name we can that attribute of a name to equivalent to the other to equivalent to allies and that same of bin the we can use full some situations but later have that component to applications refer into the some common dependencies just like some common dependency we can name as to specify to the component itself that specify for the itself we can specify to allies of a bin actual that are defined it not always into the however we can something just like introduce allies of a bin that will be defined as we can commonly case of just like a large system we can configure that split and that among of subsystem we can subsystem having a one of a set of object definitions XML based means they are defined into the XML based configurations metadata and reduce used to the alias into the element to accomplish that. We can just like giving that example in real time as a dependency as 2 times. Thank you, ma'am.